Hi there, I'm Alessandra Latour, a leadership expert with over 15 years of experience leading teams and developing leadership programs for over 400 leaders. I've had the privilege of designing learning programs for companies ranging from 15 to 5,000 team members, and I've earned a Doctor of Education degree to make sure that all of the programs I develop maximize learning and action. Through the Latour Leadership Academy, I empower emerging and existing leaders to embrace their authentic leadership style, create team synergy, and foster a positive work culture through curated and personalized learning experiences. In this podcast, we'll talk about how leadership can be found in everyday activities and provide practical tips for those who are new to managing or leading a new team. If you're a leader or hoping to be one, by title or not, I'd love to connect, get to know you better, and find out how I can help. You can grab a free resource on my website, latourleadershipacademy.com, and sign up for my weekly email newsletter where we talk about leadership skills, network, and share action-based ways to enhance team collaboration and positive productivity.
Today's podcast is all about managing distractions and addressing some scheduling concerns. Let's get started. These questions are about managing distractions and time. So what can I do to minimize distractions during the workday? I think one of the main things you can do is create a dedicated workspace. I mean, we all know it's fun to work outside by the pool, but it could also mean your eyes are pulled to the beautiful landscaping and your toes to the cool, refreshing water. Sometimes you just need a quiet room and a desk. You could use apps or tools to block distracting websites or notifications. I'm a big fan of silencing my phone when I'm focusing. You can set emergency contacts to ring through if you need to, but it really helps to minimize the distractions coming from other devices. And then you could set specific times for checking emails and messages. One tip that I took away from, if you heard of the 4-Hour Workweek book by Tim Ferriss, one of the tips I took away from that was to set specific times to check my email. So I check my email roughly 3 times during the workday. I check them first thing at the start, just before lunch, and then again about an hour before I break for the day. And so aside from that, my team knows they can reach me by text message or virtual chat if they need me urgently. The first thing I do with the emails, kind of to set up that time block that I do for emails, is a quick overview to see if there's anything that's spam that I can get rid of right away, delete it, make it marked red, whatever I need to do. Then I look for emails that I can easily skim. And then lastly, I take care of those emails that I know need a deeper dive and more time. And that way my inbox is already fairly empty when I finish those more complex messages and I'm tired of checking email. So those are my tips on getting through email. Block different times to read them and then go through them kind of in a lower priority to higher priority so that you feel really accomplished when you're done because all of those emails are finished. The next question was, how do I handle unexpected tasks that mess up my schedule? Yeah, it's frustrating, especially if you're type A like me and you like a schedule that is very streamlined and productive and moving forward, right? Those unexpected things can kind of mess you up sometimes. So I suggest building some buffer time into your schedule. I like to schedule time for that unexpected. Often that looks like that 5 to 15 minute break between those time blocks. And at the very least, it allows me to get up from my desk and move around, stay flexible and adjust your priorities as needed because the unexpected happens. We should probably expect it, right? The other thing is to learn or to say no or delegate tasks when necessary. So saying no gracefully is a skill, and so is delegating appropriately. We dive into both of those in the Leadership by the Minute Strategic Time Management for Leaders course, but I'm going to give you a quick overview. Saying no can free up your time to say yes to other things. So I recommend taking a moment to consider what you might be passing up when you avoid saying no. And as for delegating, it's important to consider in advance if you can delegate for scale, weakness, visibility, or growth. Delegating for scale is when you have too much on your plate and you need to move some things off. Delegating for weakness is when you rely on someone else's strength to successfully complete a task because you're just not that great at it. Delegating for visibility is when you want to showcase your team member and they're likely to complete a task successfully without too much guidance. And then lastly, delegating for growth is how you develop your team members. You're giving them a stretch task that they can use to build skills and knowledge for their career. All right, the next question that came in was, how do I create a structured daily routine without feeling stuck in a rut? Yes, if you are not like me, I really love the predictable and things that kind of are the same every single day. You might need some flexibility in your schedule to feel better about it. So start with a flexible framework for your day. You can use time blocking, but instead of using it for specific tasks, you could use a generalized category like a project name or a software you use to do your work, or even brainstorming time as a category. And then you just complete tasks within that category during that time block, leaving it flexible to whatever's come up. Your other options include regular breaks and time for creative thinking. I find that small walking breaks, like to the bathroom, or if you're remote like me, into the laundry room so you can feel like you're also multitasking. Those little breaks give me a mental break and allow me to switch gears more easily between my time blocks. And if anything comes up, I can also tackle them in those times. And then you want to adjust your routine as needed to keep it fresh, right? So you might try keeping one day unscheduled so you can mix up the routine a little bit. You could also try scheduling meetings in the morning one day and the afternoon in another, so your time blocks have some variability throughout the week. But it can be tough to not feel in a rut with structure. I'd say give anything a little bit of time to try it, and then if it's not doing what you want it to do, you can always change. All right, this last question that came in for this particular topic is really good, actually. How can I track my time to see where it's going? I mean, we all have the same 24 hours in the day, right? I think they say that about Oprah and Mother Teresa and Steve Jobs, all the people that are doing amazing things. They all have 24 hours in their day, just like the rest of us. So how do we know where it's going? How do we know it's useful? You could try a time tracking app or tool. I don't use those because I find they add a layer of complexity that I just don't have time for, pun intended. Instead, I look at my calendar time blocks, and if I need to track how long something's taking, I will tally them up. But I think it's pretty rare that I do that. I just have a rough idea of how long things take. You could use a project management software or tool to help if you're doing work tasks and need to know how long they take. And then another tip is to identify and eliminate those activities that are time wasting. So aside from like Candy Crush, for example, I enjoy watching the occasional show, but when I find myself binging a whole season on Netflix, I know it's time to reevaluate where my time is going.
Thanks for joining me for this mini-sode. If we're not already connected on LinkedIn, you can find me there, sharing practical tips and insights on all things leadership. And don't forget to grab the free resource on my website, latourleadershipacademy.com, and get more great tips directly in your inbox. Have a great rest of your day and see you back here soon.